Hi, what's up everyone? My name is Anthony. In today's video, I'm gonna explain to you how to use this Vue state management, what is the state manager and when you're supposed to use it or not in your application. So let's imagine that we have the very primitive application with the header and a list of products on a page. And I want to do the following. So I have a login button. And for example, I assume that I'm gonna have a login or a logged out state, and depending on if the user is logged in, I want to show this list of products or services. If the user is logged out, I want to hide it. So how to do that? For instance, I'm not aware of any state management, and I know that we have a properties, we have emit events, so let's do it using this one. So let's say we have our application here, a Vue, we have a header, a content. Content is just a list of elements, and header also has kind of a logo, and the header menu component, which is also just a list. So let's say I want to have something like this case when I'm logged out, and I want to show it back to true when I'm logged in. So for that purpose, let's do the following. In our script, let's say that we will have first of all, let's import ref, and let's say that is logged in will be ref false by default. And I want to say that I want to view that content, the if is logged in. That's it. Now it's obviously hidden. So now on the button click here, I want to perform kind of a login. So I will say click login, and let's create this function. Let's create script setup, and let's say login will be our function that will do something. Now regarding the structure, since we have our button in the header menu component, we need to pass the information that that click has been performed up into the app component. For that purpose, we need import define emits from Vue. We will need to create emits, and we will have something, let's say log in. And that button will do our emit, login, and pretty much that's it. We need to catch it in the parent component, meaning that in our header menu, login will do, let it be exactly same login. Const login will be function, and again, we will need to create emits. We will need to import it and say emit login. Perfect. And now eventually in the app, we will need to again trigger it. And here we already can say that is logged in equals true. Now, let's see if it's gonna work. Yes, it is. But now I want to also have a logout button, which will log us out. We can do it in a different way. We can have either two buttons, or we can have one button, which will be login, logout, depending on the situation. So let's say, let's create auth button text variable, which will be by default login, and let's put it here. Right, let's see what we've got. We've got an error because I think, because I don't have a ref anywhere. Right, so we have login. Now on button click, I want to have auth button value to be log out. Let's refresh and see. Yes, we have it perfectly. But now the problem is that I want to show either one or another text and perform either one or another login or logout depending on my isLoggedIn variable in the application. This is possible for sure. We need to have the property. So let's define props in our header menu component. Const props, define props, and we will have isLoggedIn, which will be Boolean, and by default it will be false. And let's say that our auth button text will be now not the variable but a computed, which will return if props is logged in, it will be logout or login. Right? Right. We don't need this anymore, but let's see what do we have. We have login, but it doesn't change when we click because we didn't pass the props properly. Now, in the parent component, we need to have pretty much the same stuff. We will need to define the props and bind our child property with our parent property, and we will need to pass our logged in from the very parent, from the app view, binding it to this. So now let's see. If our property is logged in, we're gonna call emit logged in, but with the value props is logged in. Now we're gonna have the value here. Let's call it is logged in because it goes as a payload automatically in our emit event. And here we can have it like this: value. Right. Now let's see what we've got. Sorry, not value. Let's see. Login, logout, login, logout. So everything works pretty fine. But the problem is that we needed 2 times to define props in one parent child component, then in another child component. Props. And then eventually handle it in the app component. But this is only, we have like parent, child, only 3 components nesting, so to say. If you have more, 5, 7, or even more nesting components, that's gonna be a complete problem. So how can we do that with the state management? Here's what is state. State management is the central data storage that every single component in the application can get an access to it directly, get some data, change some data, and stuff like that, and use it later on. Previously, there was a Vuex global store state management in Vue. Now we have the Pinia, which is the modern, lightweight, and way easier to use rather than Vuex. So you can go to pinia.vue.js.org, get started, and let's first of all install our Pinia. So we copy that line, we go to our terminal or command line, and I'm gonna install Pinia. Right, now we have all the packages created. Let's see what we need to do. We need in the main.js file, let's go to main.js, main.ts in our case, we import it from here. We say that const Pinia is a Pinia. Then we will need to say that app mount app and app use Pinia. Right, easy as that. So now we want to create our store. So let's go in the src and create new directory called store. for instance, and we'll create new file, store.js. Defining a store. We copy define store from Pinia, and let's copy this thing. And let's say that we're gonna have, I don't know, authentication store, which will have a state is logged in here, which will be false by default. Create an actions, and we will have toggle auth state function that will do something, and it will do simply this is logged in equals not this is login. Just easy as that. In order to use a store, we need to go, let's see, we're gonna have the reference to our store in an app. Import our auth store from store.js. Let's assign it auth store as a function. And now our basically thing could be like this, is logged in. So we're directly referencing our state is login variable. Obviously, we don't need any props. We don't even need anything to handle here. We don't need this, and we don't need this. Let's do according changes to the header component, where we don't need any properties as well. We don't need any emits. We don't need nothing literally here. And the same will be, we don't need props, we don't need any emits, and this is it. What we will need again to import auth store, assign it, and say that store is logged in. For now, let's just quickly check what we've got. We have some errors, and here we no longer need properties. We don't need that thingy as well. Let's see what we've got. Yeah, everything looks quite okay. Now, on the click of the button, I want to do something. And I just do simply store and copy our action and put it here. Let's see what we've got. I refresh, log in, it works, and log out, it works totally fine. So way less code and an ability to maintain the centralized state from whatever we want. And also you have an ability to see what is happening. We have a reference to our store here where we can see everything we need. We also have Pinia with the state we can see is logged in false. It's true dynamically happening, and in my opinion, that looks way less complicated rather than using properties. Just a couple of store references, no additional properties, no additional define emits or something like that, just getting information from the store, and easy as that. Thank you very much for watching. That was it. If you liked it, please give a like, subscribe to the channel if you want to learn more about Vue.js and the front end overall, and I will see you in the next videos. Cheers, bye-bye.